millennial pause taking place here today. That pause, awful pause that you have at the start of calls. But here we go. So, good morning, Becky. Good morning to everyone who's listening to us today. How are you today?
I'm super busy at the moment because we just launched our new book, Flip Computing did, which I'm gonna, you have to promote these things, don't you? I'm afraid. But we just launched this on Monday, so we're like really excited, but also extremely busy, just getting people to understand that and see that. So yeah, busy as usual. How are you?
I am very well, and guess what? I've received a copy
Ooh.
also. It's really good. It's great activities for children, for the whole family. So well done on that. So I like to
Oh,
celebrate
yes.
achievement. So really great there. I'm good, but I'm slightly under the weather. I've got a bit of a cold, but still,
Oh,
fighting fit. So
yeah.
for the saying, So anyway, is there anything else grabbing your attention today in the tech news? Because we're all about tech, really.
I know. Yeah. I mean, in terms of news, no, but I have started looking at a new skill, I guess, because
Mhm.
we have to do quite a lot of social media marketing. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you have the same.
Oh
Lots
yeah.
and lots of scheduling of tweets and posts and all that kind of stuff. So we've been using Buffer for that. And I noticed over the last, I don't know if it's a new thing or I just hadn't noticed it before, but it's now got this AI tool built into it. And
Mm.
what it'll do is you write your tweet how you want to write it in your sort of way, and then you just click AI assistant, and it kind of just what I say is it adds jazz hands to it. so, so it takes what you've written and just makes it sound, oh yeah, that's what I meant. Like this is what it sounds like. So it's been a tool because like I'm a bit nervous of AI and bias and all those kinds of things.
Mhm.
And like when will I actually use this practically? That felt like a good practical use of AI. And I don't feel like I'm taking someone's job because I wrote it initially. I'm sure there's
Mm.
still some kind of ethical thing behind it because I'm not paying somebody to add jazz hands. But it felt like it was my words that were just being enhanced, whereas I wasn't,
Mm.
stealing someone else's words, I guess. But maybe you are anyway because of the whole way models are trained. So there's still a bit of nervousness around it, but it was a very cool tool. I don't know if you've used anything like that before.
I haven't used Buffer AI as yet, and I know AI is everywhere. I mean, I noticed that ChatGPT Plus was trending this morning, so it's in the news every single day. I
Yeah.
tell you what I have been doing, and actually, what I should say for anyone listening to this, my name is Beverly Clarke, and Becky and I collaborate every single day almost. We message each other and
Yeah.
we meet once a month in this sort of format, and we thought we'd share it with you all. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining and listening to us today, talking about tech and what's grabbing our attention. We're entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, edupreneurs. We like to try new things. It keeps us relevant, it keeps us excited about life and about our jobs, really, I'd say. So,
Yeah.
okay, so one of the things I do in my career is I'm a guest columnist. So there's this magazine that's for teachers, a teacher audience, from the company EduThing, and it's an AI edition. I'll share this later on online, and I've written an AI book corner. So I think it's
Ah.
really important to know which books teachers can use to help them to understand about using AI in the classroom, and also for young people. What books can young people read to help them to understand all about AI? So there's AI Book Corner. I've also put in another column, AI curriculums, and then linking AI to different industry sectors, which I think is really important to show the relevance of
Yeah.
AI in different sectors. And I won't spoil it for you, but you can download this later on, the actual e-copy of this. And I think that's really important. So for example, looking in the news today, I noticed that self-driving buses are going to be deployed in Milton Keynes.
Why is
The
it always Milton Keynes that gets the new tech?
well, no, no, it's a new age city,
Yeah,
and you've also got Oxfordshire has done the same thing.
right.
So it is happening across the country.
Yeah, but they always seem to get in first because the Milton Keynes have got the robot delivery things as well,
They
haven't they?
do. I tell you. So my second book, children's book, Self-Driving Car, one of the illustrations, the inspiration was from Milton Keynes. That illustration
I
there
see.
was
Yeah,
from
that's
driving through Milton Keynes. So
yeah.
yeah, so it's it's a great city if you're looking
Mm.
for. It is a city, isn't it? It's not a town. Let's double check.
Don't ask me. I like. I was actually born in Swindon. Is that's the no? Is that near Milton Keynes? I
No,
really need to. I
Swindon
think
is a
my
town.
yeah my because my parents lived in Milton Keynes before they had me. I think that's why I always get them confused.
Two mixed up. Okay, right.
Yeah.
We're not going to do the geography today.
No, no, let's not do geography. I think we've already established that I'm not very good at geography in our last call, not knowing whether it was a lake or a river or the sea.
That's not your mastermind topic.
No, not
Okay.
at all.
So, yeah, so we've got self-driving buses being deployed. There's also been following an influencer across on TikTok and LinkedIn, and she takes a Waymo taxi every single day to work.
In
Nearly now.
England, in England, is that in
In the
England?
US. In the
Oh,
US.
okay. I was going to say,
Yeah, no,
wow.
not in England. I don't believe we've got those as yet.
No, no.
Keeping my eyes peeled.
Yeah. And does it
So yeah,
what?
it's it's really interesting what's going on out there, and of course there's a whole debate about jobs taking place,
Yeah,
loss of jobs,
yeah,
and tech is laying off lots of people from tech jobs every single day,
mm,
but still not hearing what's how what are people going to be doing, how are jobs being replaced. So that's still a big area of concern.
yeah,
However, I do still think that tech, if used positively, can bring a lot of good around, to, bring a lot of good
yeah.
for all of us.
And it's about us, talking about that, learning about it, and sharing our knowledge and questioning things as well. You have to question things all the time. You can't just like even with me talking about the AI buffer thing. Like I'm still like, am I taking someone's job doing it? I don't know, but you have to constantly question everything you're doing with terms of technology, but be positive about it too and embrace it and see it as an opportunity, not as a threat. And it's like, where is the opportunity with this now, and how are we gonna train people and support people with this change in the tech landscape that we're experiencing now. So there's a lot to unpack, but we're still learning and we're still growing and we're still trying and being optimistic about it, so that's good.
That's really important, that learning and growth. And that's one of the things when I'm coaching, I talk about, well, what can you learn? How can you grow? And I think that's really important in this age of technology because
Yeah,
there's such rapid change taking place. You need to be able to grab hold of it and really question what's going on. So, I'll tell you what I've noticed, how tech is being used in so many different areas. So, another article today on BBC Technology News was about how a drone is being used to help in a rescue of a dog. So, I think basically, let me see if I can recount this correctly. A sausage was attached to the drone, and then it was flown over to where the dog was to sort of get the dog's attention to help with the rescue. And so there, just using text as opposed to a human having to trek into this area, which was a bit slightly inaccessible to help with the rescue of the dog. A drone was then being used. So, drones are being used to monitor wildlife and their migration patterns in areas where it could be inaccessible for humans to go. So I think it's really interesting. What could technology do for us? And those are positive uses of tech.
yeah, definitely. If you don't, if we're not putting a human in danger by using
Mm.
the drone instead, and and if you can't access where the dog is, like physically as a human, then a drone is going to help with that. And that's like an inventive way of trying to use it. So, yeah, there are really positive things. Um, I still need to get my hands on a drone and actually fly one. I haven't done one of those yet. Maybe that's my New Year's resolution is to fly a drone and just see what it's like. 'Cause it must be quite exciting.
Hmm. I did purchase a drone a while back when they first came out.
Yeah.
Went across to the local park and flew the drone straight into a tree.
Oh no, did it get stuck in the tree then? Like
It
it,
certainly did.
oh no.
Had to get back home and get a rake to go and then pull it out of the tree. And it's remained in the box ever since.
Yeah,
However, um, I think I should give it another go and
yeah,
just not be put off because I I went to I was up at BT Industrial Park up in Ipswich, and there's some massive drones that are
yeah,
being used for all sorts of different reasons in the military. Every day we keep hearing about perhaps drones are going to be used to deliver our shopping, our
yeah.
online orders. But there are some really heavy duty drones which are there. They're being prototyped, and maybe next Christmas we'll start having drone deliveries.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, when you're saying that, all I'm thinking about is Disneyland Paris, which is making me want to go to Disneyland Paris again. Because, like, they have a drone show, but just
Mm,
before the show is going to start, one of those huge drones just flies off into the distance. You can see it take off because you see the little lights on. And I think I don't know if it works with the other drones that are in the display, like in terms of
mm.
geo tracking where they are and things like that, but it goes up and it goes behind everyone and
Wow.
stays there while the big show is on, and it is just fascinating how huge this drone is. And then obviously you've got the big drone show in front of you, which is just incredible to watch. Like if you've never seen a drone show in real life, it is just, have you seen one?
I haven't. No,
Oh,
my
they're
brain
just
is going
incredible.
there.
They're so, honestly, you just can't believe it. You cannot believe what you're seeing in the sky. Like it's like really unusual thing to see. And also I know they do have fireworks as well, but it is
Mm.
better for wildlife and things like that to have drone shows compared to fireworks. Because I mean, well, we've just had fireworks,
Yes, we just
like,
have had. Yeah, yeah.
dogs getting nervous and all that kind of stuff. Drone shows are helpful with that. Obviously, you've got tech and issues with that, but in terms of the wildlife around you, it's a much better experience for them
Yeah.
if you haven't got fireworks banging all the time. So, but they are incredible, and it'll be interesting to see how that technology develops over time as well.
Oh, yes. I mean, tech in action. Tech is throughout society at the moment. So another trending topic this morning. So you can tell that I've been on Twitter and I've been looking at the trending topics today. But it's really important to understand how tech is coming into everything we do. So
Yeah.
holidays are coming is trending, and that's obviously linked to
Oh no, you
Coca-Cola.
put the song in my head now.
Okay. But I tell you what, years ago I actually saw the Coca-Cola truck in real life, and
Did
it
you?
feels a
Where?
bit magical.
Oh, yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah, it does feel magical. So holidays are coming. I have observed a few different uses of tech in the mainstream. So share some examples. I went up to London last week, and Jo Malone, she does candles, fragrances, and all those things. Jo
Mm,
Malone shop just outside Battersea. She had a beautiful gingerbread house. So
yeah.
you can go into the gingerbread house, and it was all for free, so completely
Wow.
accessible. And you can have a holoportation experience.
Okay.
Yeah, so um, you basically dancing in sync with a gingerbread man.
Is this
Um,
one of these like big boxes where you can see like a hologram? Because I feel like I've seen this on the Kardashians. Like, do you watch the Kardashians?
oh,
Am I revealing something about myself now? But I'm sure this is on the Kardashians this week, where Kris Jenner was in one
do
of
you
those
want to
big.
reveal that? Kardashians, I'll let you into a secret. I love a bit of reality TV too. So Married
Yeah,
at First Sight, I sit there on the sofa every night and I'm glued to it, and I've got lots of opinions during the show.
yeah,
So it's great. So you've seen holoportation on the Kardashians.
Yeah,
I've now seen it twice here in England. So
yeah.
go on, share with our listeners what you've seen with the Kardashians and
Oh, it
holoportation.
was just it was just Kris Jenner because she's like the momager, isn't she, of all the
Yes, she
Kardashians?
is.
And they were all moaning at her that she couldn't like give them personal attention. So she made a hologram of herself in in one of their houses to say, "Here, I can be in two places at once." And there were loads of these hologram devices all around Khloe Kardashian, I think's house. Like every room she went into, there she was. So it was actually quite funny, really. But in terms of the technology, it's like, well, how is this going to be used? This because I personally feel like having conversations like this
Mm.
with like the way we do it now, I feel like this is the way. I don't would I want to stand in front of a hologram thing like with my whole body recording? I don't think I would. So I
Oh,
can't where's the use case? Like,
well, potentially, it's a good question. Potentially, it could be that I'm, say, here in England and I'm speaking to someone in another country around the world. So they actually have more of a physical me in the room because it is
mm,
like having a real person
yeah.
with you. So it isn't just this sort of dimension we've got here at the moment. You're going to actually get me moving in the room and talking to you. It's a different feel.
Yeah. And I get that. I get that it's a different feel. But then I wouldn't be able to wear jogging bottoms because it's filming my
That's another secret you're revealing about us that, top half is okay, jogging bottoms at home, working from home. Yeah, that is true. But we'll stick with this version for the time being. Okay. So holoportation is one of those things, and I'd encourage anyone if they get an opportunity to check out holoportation and talk about it. The other one
mm,
I saw, and I saw it over on Instagram, so I haven't tried this one as yet. The Lindt chocolates, and there's a Lindt teddy, but they're built-in augmented reality, so you have the teddy in different locations. So if anyone who's listening has actually tried the advent calendar and the augmented reality, would love to hear from you. But
mm,
that's another use. It's just in mainstream. So holoportation, augmented reality, and I tell you another one, which this is more to do with the presents that we can give at Christmas. So
mm,
just by chance, I was walking past the Ray-Ban sunglasses shop. It's a bit more of the luxury end, but because I've always got my tech hat on, I thought, what is that? What is that? It said smart glasses. So in I
yeah.
went, and the staff in Battersea Ray-Ban shop were fantastic. And I thought I'd
Mm,
say that because these days customer service can be quite lacking, but
yeah.
they were absolutely amazing. And I stood and I asked lots of questions and I tried on the glasses, and I'll just demonstrate to you. So these are not the Ray-Ban sunglasses. These are a cheapy pair I've got here. However, just so you understand what I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
they're called Ray-Ban smart glasses, and they link through to the MetaView app. So I've written a blog post on this also, but essentially you pop the glasses on and you've then got a camera and a light. So you can just like click once, I can take a photo. So for the first time ever, the whole world, I can record it and take photos just as I see it. So it isn't as you see it
Yeah.
as someone else. So one click, and I've taken a photo. Slightly extended hold, and I'm now recording everything around me. And while it's being recorded, there's a light there, so it shows that you are recording. I can also then swipe the handle, and I can what am I calling it? Handle the frame. A handle. It's not quite a handle, but you can swipe the frame, and then you can have sound. So you can be playing music, but it isn't as loud as you would think it is. It's actually quite contained to you.
Is it
So
like bone conductor sound?
I think there's something to do with bone
Yeah.
conductors. I've been researching this a lot more, yes,
Yeah.
and how it conducts with the air and everything else. So it's It's quite interesting.
Okay, so I'm going straight to what
I
what's
knew
the
you would.
scariest thing that somebody could do with these glasses? Hmm.
Well, so this is all about the conversation around tech for good or
Yeah.
tech for potential criminal activity. What can you do with it? And
Mm.
in the blog post I've put a few ideas there, a few
Yeah.
thoughts, and I'd encourage anyone to have a look at smart glasses, to try them out, consider the good that can come from it and the perhaps unsavory side to having smart glasses, and what do we need to do to ensure that tech is used for good at all times. So I know it's being used in the medical field for good. Um,
Mm.
on Twitter, I've got a thread running on Twitter, and someone was asking about potentially helping people with visual impairment, and that would be a good
Yeah.
use.
Yeah.
So, but unfortunately, sometimes tech is in the hands of people that don't want to use it for good, and that is always a concern. So, but I enjoy the experience.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm,
think this is it. Like you can see it as a good thing, like, just if you're a vlogger, I guess, and you want to record things you're doing, if you're walking around
mm,
a conference or something like that and you want to bump into, it's easier to do that than hold a camera in front of you. But how do you know that you're being recorded from these glasses? Is there a little light on it to say, or
well, yes. So when you
yeah?
pop it on, so you've got here, the camera is on one side, and then there's a light on the other
Yeah.
side. So just the sort of temples of the glasses. However, does that light always, will it always be on? That's what I
Yeah, and
don't
you could
know.
cover it up, I guess, couldn't you? You could.
Yes, it's about understanding
Mm.
how that technology works, because I'm sure someone has worked out a way that you don't need to have that light on. So
Yeah.
what about consent? Because right now, if you're holding a camera up, that's known, and there's not many ways I wouldn't have thought of faking that, holding your
Yeah.
phone up. But, if you went into, say, heaven forbid, a changing room with your smart
Mm.
glasses
Yeah.
and recorded people in a changing room, that's an invasion of
Mm.
privacy. So I think there's a few things I'd be concerned about.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And this is why you need the laws in our system to be ahead of all this and be looking into this new tech and thinking, okay, well, what
Mm,
laws do we need to protect society from these things? Because yeah, we need to look for the opportunity. There must be opportunities in this tech somewhere, and it's like it's very hard to see it sometimes. But what are the laws as well that are going to keep us safe from this and protect us from it? So I know, like when smartwatches came out, almost immediately they were banned from exams, which makes sense. It was like a quick
absolutely.
response.
Yeah,
So what's the quick response going to be for this? Like how, what laws are already in place? What do we need to change and that kind of stuff to stop it? But I'm always the same. I'm always like I get a bit worried, and then I'm like, oh, okay, it's not too bad, and then I'm like, oh, how do I protect myself? It's just, but you have to question it, don't you? You have to question it.
absolutely.
You can't just use it and think, oh yeah, this is amazing, and like that's all you do. You can't embrace it without having that thought in the back of your mind. Okay, where's this going?
Yeah, questioning I think is really important. So it
Mm.
can't, be all tech is bad or all tech is good. It's got to be,
Yeah,
let me weigh up the pros and cons and consider, is this helpful to me? Who is it helpful to? If it doesn't necessarily have to be helpful to you, but it could be helpful to another group in
yeah.
society. So, tech for good, really, really important. And have those conversations. I would
Mm.
encourage anyone and everyone to have those conversations about tech. But those are just some of the ways I'm seeing tech coming into the mainstream.
Yeah,
And I do find it quite exciting at some level. So,
yeah.
I tell you what, I've also noticed recently, it was just last month actually, talking about tech. There was the social mobility index was issued by the universities. So slight link to tech, but because basically tech can help with improving your social mobility if you
Yeah.
can actually use tech for good. So when the social mobility index came into my sort of view, I immediately went to check to see if my old university, which is South Bank University in London, was on the list. And I was very pleased to see it at number 11 in the social mobility index. So well done, South Bank.
Yeah, and like I checked it as well, and my university, Newman University, I think it was number 17 from what they. I think they're usually a bit higher than that actually, but they always do quite well. But 17 as well. I mean, it's a very small university as well,
Mm.
Newman is. So to do that when they're a small university is really, really good. So I was quite impressed to see that as well.
Well done, Newman.
I know, yeah, yeah,
Well, so here's the thing about going to university, because there's a lot of conversation all the time about how does university help, and I'll say there's a few things that I remember from my university days, which I do say quite a long time ago, but um, I went to hear lots of inspirational speakers. So essentially opportunities were provided, and it's up to you to take advantage of those great opportunities. So inspirational speakers. I also joined the drama group, so I'm definitely not an actress, but I got to experience on stage, behind the scenes, and that's when I first started going to West End plays and
mm,
productions. So it opened up new worlds to me, essentially. I went off to dinners. I was a student rep, so I started, learning about bringing people together and discussions and just managing groups. So there's lots of skills I developed in those years at university. So I'd say
yeah.
it's really
Like
good.
I think this is it. You go for the experience and the networking and the cultural side of it, I guess.
Yeah.
We talk about cultural capital, like all those sorts of things are adding to your cultural capital, aren't they? If you're getting those
Mm.
experiences. My experience was very different because I did a Bachelor of Education. So I was pretty much in school teaching for a lot of my degree. So there was no time to really have any fun at all. Like I was either teaching or planning to teach or doing coursework to do with teaching the entire time that I was at university. And that was about all I had time to do. But I
Oh,
do say, I understand why they do well in terms of social mobility because they do have a very supportive environment at Newman University. They've got a hardship fund for people that need extra support financially as
mhm.
well. And it just did feel like, I think because it was a small university, it felt like a community that really supported you and looked after you. Like you
Mm.
didn't feel like a number on a page. You did feel like you were really supported and looked after. So it was good for that. But at the same time, I was just work, work, work the whole time. But it was good though because I got to see lots of different types of schools and lots of
Mhm.
different age groups. So it was a really good experience, but a different one to what you experienced in that
Yeah, I
sense.
mean, I went to university to study computing science.
Mm,
It was called Computing Studies was the actual name of the degree. And then I had a year out, a sandwich, so it was a sandwich degree.
yeah.
Um, and the year out was where I did my work, and I worked for the
Mm,
Metropolitan Police. And that was really good in exposing me to lots of tech. And it really helped me then to get a job once I finished university. So that
yeah.
practical experience was fantastic.
Mm,
It really was a good year. Plus, I was also paid for it, so that was very, very good.
helpful.
Um, so, the social mobility index is of interest to me, and that
Mm.
merging with tech, I think it's very helpful. So, I encourage young people to think about tech and tech careers and how it can help them to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said tech's a great thing for social mobility because in terms of, young people where they have an aspiration to be a footballer, for example, but the chance of being a successful footballer and being paid well is such a tiny, tiny amount. But actually, if you get good at tech, and there's so many free courses and free ways to learn about tech. I know there's like access to equipment and Wi-Fi and things like that that are barriers, but if you get good at tech, you can earn quite a lot of money, from a fairly young age. I know of people sort of 17, 18 that have made apps, made programs, successful websites that are doing well now before the university age, um, and just doing well out of tech. So
Mm.
yes, it's still a bit of a lottery in terms of, will you get your six-figure salary or whatever, but you can do well out of tech. You've got much more chance of doing well out of tech than being a footballer. So it's about having your aspirations in the right place, where where can you get the best out of the time that you're going to spend on learning some new skill or developing a skill. It's going to
Yeah, I
get
mean,
you further
yeah.
than football.
Well, yes, essentially, effectively and essentially, really, tech is here. It's here to stay. So I would
Yeah.
suggest to any young person, think about how, whichever industry or sector you're going into, the part and the role that tech is playing within that. So it doesn't matter
Mm.
if you what it is, if you're a footballer, a hairdresser, a cleaner, a teacher, a nurse, whatever it is, a doctor, whatever it is that you want to do, think about how that could be changed and how you could harness tech effect really. So
Mm.
how can you use tech to improve or to diversify this industry? And I think that's the secret there. And
Yeah.
yeah, so many young people are so creative, and
Mm.
I'd encourage them to dream and be creative about uses for tech, and just not the traditional uses for tech that they're usually portrayed to us. So, for example, I saw there was a thread on Twitter this morning where someone had typed in a photo of a scientist in a lab coat,
I
and
saw that one.
you saw that, yeah.
Yeah.
And the images are still of white men, or
Hmm.
just predominantly of white
Glasses.
people, glasses, yeah, in a white coat. Now,
Yeah.
it probably had to do a little bit about what prompt the AI was
Mm.
given, but
Yeah.
I think we really need to get away from this whole thing of computer scientist.
Yes.
I like to use the word tech because
Yeah.
it's technology and how technology is embedded and threaded through everything that we're doing. So, hence the examples I've shared with today in our chat. Um, and I think that's what we need to be sharing with young people. So we're not having this sort of scary tech, not tech, computer scientist, this scary computer scientist. It's more, it's technology. Let's embrace it and let's question what's going on.
Yeah, I think the bias amongst young people still now is computer science or computing is just programming. Like they
Oh,
go straight to that, and like, the curriculum hasn't helped with that. I mean, but I could talk for hours about the computing curriculum, but it's just like, it isn't just coding. There are so many amazing careers that you couldn't even dream up, like that are out there now that are happening, that you can really enjoy and get into and get a lot of inspiration from. Like I love the whole art side of tech,
mm,
3D environments, illustrations, all of that kind of stuff. And I want to learn more and more about that and get better and better at it. And that is a career that you can have. Yes, AI is coming along and doing it all for you. But there is still a need for that authentic talent in those, and having that eye and being able to do stuff in
mm,
it. It's not a career that is going to go away. Yes, it's going to change, like with AI prompts and all that, prompt engineering stuff that's going on. But there is still going to be that need for that raw talent of creativity and in the art spaces. And I love exploring anything to do with that side of things. But there's phenomenal careers out there, and we really need to stop just talking about software engineer programmer, because it's like, yeah, they're fun. Like I do, I find coding fun if it's for a real purpose, or if it's for something exciting that I want to make. But it's not the be all and end all. It's not the only career in tech. There's
Mm.
just there's tons of careers, and the more we can shine a spotlights on them, that one of the most interesting. Sorry, I feel like I'm blabbling now, but one of the most
All good.
interesting with we're looking at recently with flip computing is hydroponics and farming and things like agriculture. Like, how is it being used there to have sustainable approaches to making food and all that
Wow.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff. You know,
Mm.
there are so much, you know, the farming industry, it could really benefit from all of this tech that is out there. And like, how do we provide links? How do we do more research in that area? And there will be people think, well, farmers don't have tech. You know, there's this bias, farmers know nothing about tech. But they might know, they might not know, but what are we
Mm.
doing about it? How are we embracing it? How are we doing research and looking into it? And you know, projects for young people that link farming with tech is a good way to inspire somebody who might be interested in farming but not understand the link between farming and tech, and getting them to see that. So it's, you know, at Flip Computing, we are trying to do that, is just look for careers or industries that people might already have an interest in, but how do we bring tech into that? How do we learn about that? How do we see the relationship and how we can use those things together to make that industry even better than it is now? So there's lots of um thinking that needs to be done in this area, I think. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, you're a talented illustrator and drawing, and I like
Oh,
the drawing that you
I'm
do.
getting there. I'm getting there. I'm not, I wouldn't say it's like 100% talent. I'm getting
I
there.
think it's good. Yeah, don't be shy. It's great. I tell you what else. I mean, in some of the talks I do, so I do a few keynote talks a year, and it's about relatable tech and the impact of tech. And you're
Mm,
talking about farming, and that's there's drones being used for spraying crops. You've got
yeah,
autonomous tractors. Those are just two
yeah.
examples off the top of my head. There's
Mm,
prop tech. How is technology being used in the property in sector? So it isn't
mm-hmm.
just I'm going to be an estate agent. How could and how is technology being used? And I'll
Yeah.
let you into a little secret. My third children's book is coming out very soon. I can tell you the name this time.
Okay.
Here's the
Okay. What's the
title.
name?
It's Smart Home.
Ah,
Yeah, so
okay.
keep your eyes peeled on social media. Smart home, the digital adventures of Ava and Chip Smart Home, because our
Wow.
homes are smarter. There's up at the London Excel conference venue, there was a whole smart buildings show. So there's smart
Wow.
buildings, smart homes, and I just went along for a wonder because basically I'd been to another show, saw this one going on, and I thought it's worth me going in there. And I just went along to the stands and had a really good chat. So,
Yeah.
I do think we need to talk about this a lot more and show our young people jobs beyond this traditional computer scientist.
Yeah.
It's That's not what you're seeing when you're at the smart building show or we're building smart homes or we're in farming, but an understanding of computer science is important, but it's about technology and its implementation. And when you were talking just now, it really made me think about, obviously, with us both being authors and being very creative, is this reading for pleasure around technology? And
Mm,
hence, I created my children's book series, and I
yeah.
believe it's part of why you've also written for children, because
Mm,
we need to foster a love of reading for pleasure around technology. So young people could be sitting there and reading a book and dreaming and imagining, and that creativity sometimes happens more in your quiet moments. I don't know what your thoughts around that are.
yeah, I think so. I think, you know, I wrote my Willow Codes book based around that. So I felt like at the time there was a storybook linking to coding at that time. It just didn't seem to exist in the way that I wrote it, like as an actual, like the focus was on the story and the young
Mm,
person's adventure. It wasn't necessarily about coding and like, oh, now I have to write this and now I have to write none of that.
Mm.
It was just a nice adventure story, and it was just like a reading for pleasure moment that might pique the interest in technology, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, but
Mm.
it, in itself, it's just a nice story to read. And I didn't feel like there was a lot of that around at the time when I wrote it, and I think there definitely is space for having those sort of fantasy adventures sort of in the tech world,
Oh, yes.
where you're learning about things, but not like you're in a classroom being taught by a teacher, like these knowledge and skills, and like
Too much.
too much, too much. But just you're just having an adventure like in this
Yeah.
book, and you might see some things and learn things along the way, and that's it's just a different way of approaching learning something new about tech, isn't it? Not everyone benefits from sitting in a classroom being told lots and lots of facts.
Mm.
Some people do, some people thrive in that environment, but other people don't, and they'll get their knowledge from a different approach. And I do
Yeah,
think there is a benefit in that, absolutely.
absolutely. That's why I put together the Facebook group Technology Books for Children. So,
Mm,
parents, teachers, nurses, childminders, anyone who works with children can,
yeah.
have a look for books which children can just pick up and read for pleasure around tech. So I do
Mm.
think tech needs to be normalized. I'm on a mission to normalize technology and,
Yeah, and
really
like,
enjoy having these chats with you.
yeah, absolutely. And it's and like flip computing is all about flipping computing. So it's not this, boring experience. It's actually a really fun and creative,
Oh,
collaborative
yeah.
experience that can be really, really exciting. And having like learning resources and books and all that kind of stuff out there that flips the experience, particularly for underestimated groups in tech, because like the experience they get isn't always that great, and
Mhm.
we want to improve those experiences with the books or resources that we're making, and hopefully that's what we'll achieve, and we're right at the very beginning of it all at the moment, but that's where we're heading. That's what we want to flip everyone's experience of
And this is
computing.
why I like talking to you, because we've both got this same mission to
Mm,
in, ensure that people enjoy tech. And I
yeah.
like what you say, flip that experience. So in the talks that I do, it's all about the impact of technology in the books that we write. It's just,
Mm,
it's at the very center of us because we've got lived experience of working in technology. And that lived experience of working in technology is what we're sharing. We're sharing
yeah.
our insights, we're sharing the good and the bad, really, the pros and the cons,
Mm-hmm.
and encouraging people to talk about this. And the more
Yeah.
discussion that we have, I think that's going to move things forward and move the dial around tech conversations. So,
Yeah, definitely.
let's see what the future holds.
Yeah.
Right. Do you know what? I've got to get back to working today.
I know. Well, actually, I'm about to go on my lunch break, so I'm going to
Right.
enjoy my lunch
Okay.
break now. But then I'm working hard from 1 o'clock.
Yeah. I've got a coaching session at 1 o'clock. Right. I will catch up with you again very soon.
Yeah.
And if anyone who's listening to this, leave us some comments, ask questions. We'll be happy to answer any questions in the next time we chat or online, and just get involved in a conversation around tech.
Yeah.